Stand by SOT1.
Standing.
10 seconds. Ready, rolling. Ready, SOT1.
Ready.
In 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll in.
From legendary Uncle Studios in beautiful Southern California, welcome to another edition of Work Comp Matters, the central location for you employees, you employers, and of course, we haven't forgotten about you damn independent contractors. And now, here's this week's edition of Work Comp Matters. And welcome everybody to another edition of Work Comp Matters. It's December 6th, almost a little 1 minute after 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. And we are podcasting live on Facebook and Clubhouse. And John, can you hear me okay? John, unmute and just let me know that you can hear me okay.
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Right, fantastic. We are working out our technological issues and improving more every day. This is a beautiful thing. And my name is Steve Appel. I'm joined by my co-host. Oh, I'm in Southern California. John is in Munich, Germany. And welcome to another edition of Work Comp Matters. We are, of course, brought to you by mancavepodcasting.com. If you want to do your own podcast, all you have to do is talk anywhere in the world. All you need is a smartphone or a computer. We will manage your podcast, direct your podcast, produce your podcast, and put it, stream it live on the social media and then into the cloud forever, all for one low fee of $50, not $50 a day, not $50 a week, not $50 a year, $50, one-time fee. Your podcast is there up in the cloud forever. If you can find a better deal, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Anyways, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you. And John and I bring you interesting news stories for you employees, you employers, and of course, we haven't forgotten about you damn independent contractors that interest you. And what can I say? So, in the news today, Los Angeles firefighters lose vaccine lawsuit. Vax mandate goes back into effect for San Diego schools. New United States travel restrictions are beginning today. Also in the news, good old Dr. Fauci, United States reviewing its South African travel ban and hopes to lift it soon. Omicron variant in California, Dr. Fauci says. Early reports about new virus strain are hopeful. From the Washington Post, Omicron coronavirus variant possibly more infectious due to sharing genetic code with the common cold. But you know what? I question if this Omicron is sharing a genetic code with the common cold. Does that mean that the side effects are not going to be as serious and there's going to be less serious hospitalizations and less deaths? I'm not aware of any deaths due to the Omicron variant so far, but we'll see. The Omicron variant infects 2 fully vaccinated individuals in separate hotel rooms, according to a report. And from Reuters, South African officials says children sick with COVID-19 have mild infections. These stories and more are to follow on Work Comp Matters. And I want to say hello to my co-host, Mr. John Scalia, 40 to 45 years, an attorney, the only attorney on the show. I am not an attorney. And he did workers' compensation, employment, labor law, representing both injured workers, insurance companies, and city, county, and state employers for 40, 45 years. He retired, semi-retired, 7-8 years ago, moved out to Munich, Germany, and is now living the socialist life. Hey, John, how's it going?
It's going great. Winter has arrived in Munich. We had snow yesterday, snow today. and snow predicted for the next 24 hours, although not heavy, not a lot, very pleasant snow. I actually got a run in this morning before the snow hit. So, it's actually pleasant. You get used to it. I mean, the current temperature is about freezing, but you get acclimated.
Yes, I understand. And I'm 61 years old, and I pretty much go from one part of Los Angeles to another part of Los Angeles. I sit behind a desk. The only exercise I really get are my dog walks. You run 10Ks. You're in your 70s, 74, 75. And I have no doubt that you are healthier than me. You probably have the body of a 49-year-old or something like that. I don't know.
Well, chronologically, I'm certainly, biologically, I'm 75. Chronologically, undoubtedly, I'm not. Yeah, I'm very. Let me put it in context for you. When I was in my 50s, I played in church basketball leagues that had serious players in it. We had a ref. We had a lot of guys that played in college, and I was in my 50s, and I couldn't play. I didn't want to play with the guys. I played in a league that was for over 30s. That was full court.
And I want to welcome one of Man Cave Podcasting's best contributors as well as fans, Liz, to Clubhouse. Liz Darcy comes on a lot of our shows. Welcome, Liz. And if you want to stay in the audience and listen, that's cool. If you want to come up on stage and ask a question, you're more than welcome to. Work Comp Matters is going to be here for about another 22 minutes, at least on the live podcast. And John and I will stick around for a few minutes to answer any questions or whatever. But now we've got news and current events for you employees, employers, and we haven't forgotten about you independent contractors. John, you can go with the first story of the day. John, can you hear me?
I was forgot to unmute.
That's okay. No, yeah, again, we're dealing with the learning curve on Clubhouse. Not a problem, John. Go ahead.
Yeah. Judge denies request by LA Firefighters Union for injunction to block vaccine mandate enforcement. A Superior Court judge has denied a request by the LA Fire Department Firefighters Union seeking a preliminary injunction to delay enforcement of the city's vaccine mandate. The ruling is, quote, a victory for public health and safety in Los Angeles, close quote, City Attorney Mike Foyer said in a statement. The court recognized the emergency we're in and the harm that enjoining implementation of the vaccine mandate could have caused, Foyer said. Beyond this case, the presence of the new highly contagious variant here in LA underscores the importance of vaccinating our first responders, indeed, of vaccinating everyone. Firefighter Union had sued in November, asking that the vaccine mandate be delayed to allow for proper bargaining procedures. As you know, I'm going to comment on this. If you've been listening to us at all, you know that I comment on almost all the articles I read. Yes, I represented the county of LA, and I was on the other side of work comps from the firefighters. I've also represented some firefighters. But let me tell you, by and large, they are spoiled. I mean, you want to talk about a socialist system? If you get employed by the LA County as a firefighter, you are in what is completely a socialized system from cradle to grave. And as a result, they think they're entitled to whatever they want. Okay. So I'm not surprised that they brought this meritless, frivolous, idiotic lawsuit. And I'm also not surprised that it was chucked out of court.
All right, John. Next up on our news story, vax mandate goes back into effect for San Diego schools. In a rare weekend decision, the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals voted Saturday to lift a block it had placed on San Diego Unified School District student coronavirus vaccine mandate. Students and staff must be fully vaccinated by December 20th. And that's the way K through 12 is going. And John, you well know, everybody knows, that we've had a requirement in K through 12 for 100 years. Chickenpox, mumps, measles, rubella, polio. This has always been mandated, and no one has ever raised hide nor hair, except very, very rarely a rare religious exemption. Now, that being said, for the past 100 years, whenever I had to go into a restaurant or a gym or a local location, I never had to show proof that I was vaccinated by chickenpox, mumps, rubella, measles, or polio. So it kind of hits on both ends.
Yeah, actually, I'm old enough so that there was no vaccine for chickenpox or measles when I was a kid. I had to have both of them, and I did. In fact, I had them back to back, which was kind of a nuisance. But yeah, so the vaccine was developed after my childhood years, or my young childhood years. And mumps, I don't know when the mumps vaccine came in. I'm pretty sure we didn't have one either. But for some reason, I never got mumps. Thank you.
Yeah, but now it goes in the 3, I think, doesn't it? Isn't it? Rubella, mumps, smallpox, chickenpox. One of those vaccines is good for 3 of them, I think, right?
Yeah, I know my kids got one that was, I think it's called MMR. Yeah.
Exactly. You've got the next story.
Okay. Earlier reports on new variant encouraging, Fauci says. Yeah, that's an interesting head. I'm not sure if encouraging is the word I would use, but anyway, despite the rapid spread of the Omicron coronavirus through the U.S., federal health officials say early signs indicate it may not be as dangerous as the dominant Delta variant, which is responsible for a rise in hospitalizations. Top White House infectious disease advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, told CNN's State of the Union Sunday that hospitalization rates in South Africa, where Omicron emerged and is becoming the dominant strain, have not increased to concerning levels. The next is a quote from Fauci. Thus far, it does not look like there's a great degree of severity to it, Fauci said. But we have really got to be careful before we make any determinations that it is less severe or it really doesn't cause any severe illness comparable to Delta. Fauci said the Biden administration is considering lifting the travel restrictions on several African countries imposed when Omicron spread rapidly across the region. So there you go. I mean, it's living proof that, the whole scientific evaluation of this thing has been developing. It's a work in progress. I just wish from the very beginning that the scientists had made it clear, hey, we're on a learning curve here. And so everything we say is going to be tempered by our experience down the line. So if we say something now that later on we say, well, it doesn't matter, don't be shocked. I mean, it reminds me of coming into a lawyer's office for the initial consultation. People think lawyers are wishy-washy because lawyers are always saying, well, it depends. Well, you know what, folks? It does depend. And life is a series of it depends. And it would be nice if the scientists at the very beginning said, it depends.
Yeah. And although they didn't say that, they did say, we just don't know. And all the information to date appears to indicate that although the Omicron, or however it's pronounced, is more contagious, it appears to be less severe. But as John correctly indicated, it depends, and we will see. You're dialed into Work Comp Matters. We are brought to you by mancavepodcasting.com. If you want to go on to mancavepodcasting.com, there are 600 podcasts, including this Work Comp Matters, to choose from. There's no obligation, doesn't cost you a single dollar. You don't even have to sign up or subscribe. Just go on to mancavepodcasting.com, click the link, up to 600 podcasts at your disposal 24/7 for your enjoyment. Now, if you want to do your own podcast, where all you have to do is talk anywhere in the world, all you need is a smartphone or a computer, mancavepodcasting.com might be just what you're looking for, and we will produce it, manage it, direct it. The content is completely yours. We will get it streamed live like John and I are doing right now and into the cloud forever, all for one low fee, $50. Nope, not 50 a day, not 50 a week, not 50 a month, not 50 a year, $50 forever, mancavepodcasting.com. But now back to the news that affects you employees, employers, and independent contractors on Work Comp Matters. New United States travel restrictions beginning today. Beginning today, travelers heading to the United States will be required to show evidence of a negative test for the virus within 1 day of boarding their flight instead of 3 days prior. Although President Biden will extend the federal rule requiring passengers on planes, trains, and buses to wear face masks through March 18th, it was scheduled to expire in mid-January. The Biden administration move comes after the White House announced a ban on travel to the United States by foreign nationals who have been to South Africa or 7 other African countries within the previous 14 days. John.
This is from NPR. Pro-Trump counties now have far higher COVID death rates. Since May 2021, people living in counties that voted heavily for Donald Trump during the last presidential election have been nearly 3 times as likely to die from COVID-19 as those that live in areas that went for now President Biden. That's according to a new analysis by NPR that examines how political polarization and misinformation are driving a significant share of the deaths in the pandemic. NPR looked at deaths per 100,000 people in roughly 3,000 counties across the US from May 2021, the point at which vaccinations widely became available. People living in counties that went 60% or higher for Trump in November 2020 had 2.7 times the death rates of those that went for Biden. Counties with an even higher share of the vote for Trump saw higher COVID-19 mortality rates. Color me surprised.
The Omicron variant is likely to have picked up genetic material from another virus that causes the common cold in humans, according to new preliminary study, prompting one of its authors to suggest Omicron could have greater transmissibility, but lower virulence. It could be less severe, I'll just say that, than other variants of the coronavirus. Researchers from Neference, a Cambridge, Massachusetts-based firm that analyzes biomedical information, sequenced Omicron and found a snippet of genetic code that also is present in a virus that can bring about a cold. They say this particular mutation could have occurred in a host simultaneously infected by SARS-CoV-2, also known as the novel coronavirus, and the HCOV229E coronavirus, which can cause the common cold. The shared genetic code with HCOV229E has not been detected in other novel coronavirus variants, the scientists said. John.
TikTok conspiracies, infertility myths, and other disinformation hinder Central Valley COVID fight. This is from the Central Valley of California, my favorite place. It's the home of Kevin McCarthy, that reasonable person. As Marissa Zendejas waited to get her first COVID-19 vaccination shot at the headquarters of the California Farm Worker Foundation, the 27-year-old rattled off the tall tales she had heard from people she knows and the internet about why she shouldn't. Like, your lifespan gets short if you're vaccinated, Zendejas said. You only have this amount of time of life left, or you'll get sterilized and won't have kids no more. She laughed sheepishly and shook her head. There are a lot of things circulating and people get scared. Nearby, Michael Rodriguez, 35, said he had seen on TikTok that the pandemic was a conspiracy created by the government. He got COVID-19 in February, but said the symptoms were mild. Rodriguez needed clearance to watch Mexican regional music star Karin Leon perform in Bakersfield. His wife got vaccinated months ago, but he needed a negative test as proof of entry. I'm scared of vaccination because maybe something might happen to me, he said. There's videos of people who got the shot and got sick. The two showed up at the California Farm Worker Foundation, but neither ended up taking the COVID-19 shot. Okay, and once again, that's from the Central Valley, which is, again, one of those areas that they were talking about. Undoubtedly went heavily for Trump. Kevin McCarthy comes from there. It might as well be in the middle of Kentucky, for those of you familiar with the state of California. It's the farm belt of California, and it shares pretty much the same kind of demographics that any any agricultural region in the United States has. Steve.
Thank you. And we welcome Jasmine and Sarah to the audience in Clubhouse. And if you guys want to come up, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll bring you up to ask a question. We're doing this live streaming podcast on both Clubhouse as well as Facebook, which will be over in about 8 minutes. But John and I will stick around for a few minutes afterwards. Our next story, Omicron continues to spread across the United States and around the world as scientists try to pin down how fast it spreads and how much of a threat it poses compared to other strains of the virus. As of Saturday morning, Omicron cases had been reported in 12 U.S. states, pretty much all of which were among people who had traveled to South Africa recently. None of the cases so far in the United States have resulted in serious illness, and the World Health Organization has said that no Omicron cases, which have been detected in at least 38 countries, have resulted in death. World Health Organization officials note it will take weeks to know how infectious Omicron really is and how effective the current crop of vaccines is against the new variant. Experts emphasize that vaccines will provide some protection against the variant, especially against the worst outcomes of infection, like hospitalizations and death. There's no reason to suppose that they won't. Michael Ryan, head of emergencies at WHO, said. That said, preliminary data appears to suggest Omicron is able to cause reinfection at a higher rate compared to previous variants, which is of particular concern to countries where vaccination rates are low. John.
I was just going to tell you, by the way, that an article I chose not to read, but I almost read just for you, said that apparently another jab of the J&J vaccine is very effective as a booster. So that's good news for you, because I know you got the J&J one and done vaccine.
Yes, I did. And I am planning on getting a J&J booster, although I've got a couple of weeks to wait. But I am planning on getting a J&J booster. Yes.
Okay. Contra Costa got 80 complaints against restaurants that allegedly broke COVID vaccine check mandate, but didn't find any. Despite receiving 80 complaints last month that restaurants weren't checking indoor diners for proof that they're vaccinated against COVID-19, Contra Costa County didn't find or even officially warn the eateries that were breaking its rules, health officials have acknowledged. Instead of meting out punishment, Contra Costa Health Services told this news organization in a statement it is, quote, focusing on education to gain compliance, close quote, from restaurants that don't ask to see vaccination cards or evidence of negative COVID-19 test within 3 days. When asked to comment about the health department's Go Easy approach, County Supervisor Karen Mitchoff said she was surprised and angered by the revelation. Mitchoff said she and other county officials, including Health Services Director Anna Roth and County Administrator Monica Nino, didn't know so many restaurants weren't being fined or formally warned for ignoring the proof requirement. Roth and Nino could not be reached for comment.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead,
I
Judge.
just want to, since I know that you are based in Southern California, just so you know, Contra Costa is like east of Alameda. It is not a rural area. I mean, there's some bucolic areas there, but it's basically a suburb, and it's a very sophisticated area. It's probably why they got 80 complaints, just so you have an idea. It's like just east of Alameda, Oakland, in terms of the geography, maybe a little north too. That's where it is.
All right. And thank you very much. And Sarah has come to the stage. And Sarah, welcome to Work Comp Matters. Do you have a question for John or myself?
Hello, everyone. It's been so nice to see you again. And actually, I have a question for Mr. John, since he's in Germany in the current moment, and Germany has is going through a difficult time with the Omicron virus. I want to ask him about the booster. It's like, how is it going right now? The situation in Germany. Are
Well,
they in the process of making a booster, or they're just making more political decisions about the restricting the traveling and closing the airports, something like that?
Well, as far as I know, there's no additional travel restrictions right now, although there may have been some put in against some of the South African countries. The booster is available. It's available privately. You can get it from your private doctor here, and it's also available at where we got the first jabs, where I got my 2 jabs. I've been actually trying to sign up, and I've been having a few difficulties with the email, with their email or my email. But yeah, it's available. I mean, if anybody in Munich wants it, you can get it. So, we're basically bracing for the onslaught of Omicron, but it doesn't. We're well prepared. I mean, Germany has a great health system. We have tons of intensive care beds, although they're being pressed a little now. But we have a lot of medical available, and we have all the boosters and all the shots available in the world. I mean, Germany's a well-run country.
And Sarah is from the Sudan. She is a medical student, and we've got about 2 minutes left in the podcast, but John and I will stick around after the podcast is over to answer another question or two. Sarah, do you have a follow-up question for John, or would you like us to close the show? It's up to you. And
Well,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, actually, I don't have anything to say.
No,
You
that's
can close it whatever
yeah,
you
you
want.
got it. You got it. So go ahead on mute, and we'll go ahead and close the show out in about 90 seconds. And then John and I will talk for a few minutes after the podcast is over. Yeah, thank you for muting your mic. So, John, we're at the end of the show. Any closing thoughts, burning desires?
No, I just think it's, I mean, I am also getting tired of all this shutdown, lockdown, don't do anything. I didn't run my 10K on Saturday because they were requiring a quick test, and I wasn't about to get it. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm fully vaccinated. I refuse to keep getting tested to go anywhere. I mean, even I'm getting tired of that.
And appreciate that. And we are out of time. I want to thank everybody for joining John and myself. John is in Munich, Germany. I'm in Los Angeles, California. And we will be here again with you on Friday on Clubhouse and on Facebook streaming live. Work Comp Matters is brought to you by mancavepodcasting.com. You can click on to mancavepodcasting.com. And we have up to 600 podcasts in the tank. They're completely free, no obligation, 24/7. Listen as you will. And if you want to do your own podcast from anywhere in the world, all you have to do is talk. We will manage, direct, produce, stream it live, get it into the cloud forever, all for one low fee, $50. And that's not $50 a day. It's not $50 a week, not $50 a month, not $50 a year. One-time fee, $50. Good for life. Want to thank Scott Walton of Legendary Uncle's Studio for helping us with sound. The madman across the water, the socialist voice of reason, Mr. John Scalia in Munich, Germany. All the good people back at mancavepodcasting.com. My name is Steve Appel, and we will see you again 12 noon live for another edition of Work Comp Matters. Everybody stick around on Clubhouse. We'll be right back.